All right, I think we're good.
Ready to go?
I think so. Let's go.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Dan Bates, President and CEO, Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. And we are glad you could join us today for Coffee and Conversation. We're going to hear from Trish in just a little bit about her journey and what she learned along the way getting her business started. So I think it's going to be a very interesting session for everyone. We are on Facebook Live, so if you have questions, if you're on Zoom, if you have questions, just ask the speaker. I'm sure she won't mind if you interrupt her. If you are on Facebook Live, type your questions in, and Laura or Tiffany will get them answered for you. So with that, I think we're going to do self-introductions. Tiffany?
Yep. So we're going to go around. I'll call on you and just say what your name is and then what company you're with. We'll start with Scott.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Scott Hollybetts, and I'm with Cincinnati State. I am the co-op coordinator for the Midwest Culinary Institute. I also run a private company called Food Safety Hub, where I focus on ServSafe instruction and proctoring.
Nice. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks.
Gina?
Hi, hey, I'm here with Land of Illusion, and we are in a 2-week countdown to opening up Aqua Adventures. So excited about that, and really hope that you guys will come out. Next time I come to the Mix It Up, I'll bring some tickets to give away. But if you haven't been to Land of Illusion, it's in Middletown, and it is a giant pond with a floating obstacle course out on the water. Kids love it. They stay off their screens, and tell all your friends.
Thank you. Michelle?
Morning, Michelle Harris with the Alzheimer's Association. We're gearing up and very excited for June, which is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And so we'll be out in the community around town, Third Eye Brewing, as well as Kona Grill, Milkshake Factory over in Mason. And there will be lots of educational activities, virtual and otherwise, that we hope you'll participate in, culminating with our walk to end Alzheimer's in September on September 13th. So we would love for you to join us.
Awesome. Tracy?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Stivers. I'm the Director of Community Relations for BCW Workforce, which is the workforce board serving Butler, Warren, and Claremont counties. We offer free workshops to help you train up your staff and get additional training for yourself as well. So if we can be of any service to you, please let me know. If there's something you're looking for or you need, run it by me because everything we do is free. So if you can get it free, you should do that first.
Thank you. Sandy?
Good morning. Sandy Kresnoff with Frank's Glass. We're a full service glass company. Hey, Trish.
Hey.
All right. I think that is everyone. So Trish, go ahead and take it away.
Oh, I can go ahead and start with everything?
Yep.
Perfect. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about this conversation. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. So give me a second, make sure I am doing this right. All right, perfect. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yep, perfect. All righty. So what I'm going to be talking about today are things that I've learned when building my food-based business. So I guess, like they said, my name is Trish Archie. I am the founder of Trish's Treats and Kitchen Oasis. And it's been a journey, and I have learned a lot from just kind of doing my small business. So I'll talk a little bit about my food business journey, and then I'll go into things in different stages that I've learned when I actually started. So the beginning of Trisha's Treats. So what I do, I cook or make homemade treats from scratch. So everything here, I'll go back to my picture. So this cheesecake that you see on my screen, that is my cheesecake, and I have made that from scratch, down from the crust to the filling. I do everything from scratch. That's what I love to do. I try to bring back basics of cooking and things like that because everybody wants it now. And there's just something about a good dessert that's homemade and made with love, should I say. So that is actually an example of my cheesecake that I've made. So the beginning of Trisha's Treats. So I was, let's say, Facebook official in 2017. That's when I actually started posting things on Facebook. I made me a Facebook page with Trisha's Treats. And I didn't really kind of think of it. I'm like, hey, maybe I'll just do this. I'll start with this, posting little things that I've done, and it would be basic things. And then I decided in 2022, I actually decided to register Trisha's Treats. It just came to me, hey, I love doing this. I love baking because I did little things for friends and family. Nothing too large, but I'm like, let's actually start doing this. So that's what I decided to do. Trisha's Treats is an online bakery, and I specialize in cheesecakes. So what you'll see on Facebook, there are a couple of different things that I actually make, but I usually do cupcakes. I've done bean pies, blondies. I do some cakes. I don't do a lot of cakes. What I found now, cakes stress me out sometimes because think about it. When you're in an event and someone's day really depends on that, I was a little stressed out. So I kind of knew that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do the basic things. Make sure the taste is there because that's really what's important to me is what does your dessert taste like? That's really important. Yes, we eat with our eyes, of course, but I wanted to make sure when you eat with your eyes and your taste buds, you actually have that feeling of, oh my God, this is awesome and I want it again. My why, I decided to open up my business because my dad, he owned a business when I was younger. My brother actually owned a business as well in Columbus. And I helped my husband start a couple of his businesses. And I do have a 9 to 5, and I see people every day that has a business. So my thing is, why not me? Why not start my business? I've seen it. I've kind of know most of the fundamentals. So why not? So that's why I decided to start Trisha's Treats because I love to bake and everything. Where I am now, where Trisha's Treats is now, like I said, I'm an online bakery where I do things where you order online and you can get it picked up or delivery. So it just really depends. But I'm really on my growth stage when it comes to the business. So I'm trying to grow and expand. And I'll talk a little bit more about that within the next couple of slides about what stages and what different stages are when it comes to your bakery business. So let's see. Sorry, I got to get this out of my way. There we go. Okay, so things that I've learned when building my food-based business. So getting started. A business plan is just that. It's a plan for your business. It really puts things in perspective for your business, things that you don't really think about. So what does the marketing plan look like? Like, what does my location? Will I have a physical location? Will I do online things? What does that really entail? It talks about your competition. So it's really good to analyze who is, doing the same thing you are. What makes them special? What makes you special? So a business plan is very vital to the beginning of your business because it just gets you thinking. Because if you don't have that plan before you go in, things can definitely go wrong if you don't. The biggest thing is testing your recipes. So I have a question for everybody. How many businesses do you know that has one item on their menu, or I'll say one core item on their menu, and that's kind of really what they all sell? Does anybody have any ideas?
Oh yeah, there's a place called More Than an Apron right down the street from me, and they are known for their birria tacos.
There you go, a taco. Anybody else? So think of when you're going down the street. So Raising Cane's. So they only have their tenders, right? They have you said they have like what your combos and stuff like that, and they have a sandwich. It's all tenders. You also have nothing but cakes. all they sell is bundt cakes. You also have In-N-Out Burger. All they do is burgers. Yes, you have your other things like that. But what I'm trying to think is you only have to do one thing. There's companies out there that only do macarons. That is a really good business. So when you're doing those things, you don't have to have a large menu when it comes to your food-based business. I specialize in cheesecakes. Yes, I might do cupcakes here and there. I'll do a cake here and there if people ask me. But if you actually look at my page, it's mostly about my cheesecakes. And I'm not trying to be something large when it comes to my cheesecakes. I want the one plain cheesecake. And when you taste that cheesecake, what do you think? That was an awesome cheesecake. I want another one. So that's why I decided to test the recipe and what's good and what can improve. I will thank my husband for that because he got me thinking to do a cheesecake. My first cheesecake, I was a no bake girl. I'm like, let me stick with the no bake. I love a good creamy cheesecake. I don't like firm cheesecakes or anything. Give me something creamy that I can enjoy. So I've always did a no bake. So then he's like, well, Trish, you should try a baked cheesecake, like a New York style cheesecake. I'm like, I guess, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. So what I usually do is I look at multiple recipes. I do not just find one recipe and just take it and say, this is it. So what I do is I look at multiple, I pull some from here, I pull some from there, and that's all my recipes when it comes to my cakes, my cupcakes, and things like that. I get different things from different recipes and see what I like, and I try it. And then if that's a hit, then I take it and run from there. So you always can improve and always look at different menus and what people offer. When it comes to your licenses for your food-based business, that is something I was not really familiar with when I came into the industry. So there's a couple different things. Cottage law. So one thing a lot of people don't understand about cottage law, that is for home-based bakers. So you can actually do things from your home. It really just depends. Trisha's Treats cannot be a cottage law. Well, I could. I'll explain it a little bit more. But I decided to go into a commercial kitchen because I'm dealing with cheesecakes. So think about it. When you have cheese, they have to be refrigerated, right? I can't just put it in my refrigerator at home and then sell it. Everything has to go through the health department to make sure that I am in compliance for different things because I am selling my food to the public, right? So if something happens, then they know what happened. They can kind of isolate everything. So that's my biggest thing that I didn't understand at first is, hey, can I do this? So when I first started Cottage Law, I could definitely do like cupcakes, cakes and things like that. You don't typically have to be in a commercial kitchen, but you can do it at home. When it comes to the health department, there are things that you do have to get okay with when it comes to food-based baking. But I really recommend you kind of doing your research in the county that you live in to see, do I need to go through the health department to see if I can do this from my home? Yes, can my food-based business can my food business be home-based? You actually can. If you would like to get that all separated from your home. So for example, if I decide to do my cheesecakes from home, I would definitely have to have the health department come and inspect my home. And I just need to make sure I meet certain criteria when I am at my home. So for example, I have to have something separated my personal kitchen to my baking business stuff. I might have to have some commercial grade things. There's just a lot that you have to really consider to say, is this can this truly be done in my home? Or do I need to possibly get a food truck? Do I need a commercial kitchen? Do I want to get an actual brick and mortar? So that's a big thing that you want to focus on to see if you can truly be home based. Compliance and food safety. So that is a very big one when it comes to different things like your license and permits. So you have to be a serve safe. So I decided to become serve safe, like the manager license and my food handler's license. So there are a couple of things that you do have to go through. You have to study and take a couple exams or take the exam to become a manager because I wanted to make sure that when I sell my products, I don't get anybody sick. I understand the food safety part of it. I don't truly have a background within the restaurant industry. So this is really helping me learn about what food safety looks like when it comes to my food-based business. Because if I don't, then I could get in so much trouble when it comes to making somebody sick. And then sometimes it really depends if you need to go through Ohio Department of Agriculture. That is another thing that's coming along because when I talked to my health department, they were like, hey, you have to go through the ODA to see if I'm able to do this. Once again, this is all to make sure that you are health compliant and you understand food safety. So yes, it's for your protection, also for the safety of your consumers when it comes to that. And it's more about operations than cooking. A lot of people think, oh, I can start my food-based business and, I can sell a plate, right? My grandmother knows how to cook. I know how to cook. Is it really just cooking? No, it's more about the operations of cooking. What does that look like when it comes to your portions, your sales? How are you going to get the food out? Once again, your safety. There's so many things that you need to consider when it's talking about your operations and your cooking, and what does the whole back part of it looks like when I'm starting. Your startup costs. So startup costs is a very big thing when you're looking to start your food-based business. So you have, what I've done is I've invested in myself. So there's so many classes that you can take when it comes to decorating, to learning. You can go to school for that if you would like, but there's so many tutorial things, on YouTube. If you're really passionate about it, I definitely recommend investing in yourself. That is part of a startup cost. Obviously, you have your equipment. Are you looking to, if you're doing it from your home, are you looking to upgrade your oven? Because let's think about it. If you get a order of 106 cupcakes, can you really produce that much in your kitchen? So you need to look at that. What all products do I need? That's another thing that I didn't completely think about when I'm going to, let's say if I'm doing cupcakes and I'm going to go to Michael's. Oh, Michael's is, they have a bunch of cake decorating things, right? So I need to store those cupcakes and I need to deliver those cupcakes. How can I take those items to that person? So I'm thinking, oh, Michael's is right there, right? Yes, it is, but you'll definitely pay for it. So looking at being broader of who I'm getting my supplies from, that's another thing because you want to keep your costs low, especially when you're starting out. Your equipment, how things look, how things are protected, that's a very big thing when it comes to startup costs. If you're going to have a brick and mortar, that's a whole nother ball game. What does that look like? Startup costs for that. Do I want a brick and mortar or do I want a food truck? That actually, it helps a lot. And I'll go back to the business plan. It really puts all that in perspective of what the startup cost really looks like. Because once again, it's more about operations than cooking. Yes, you can make some good mac and cheese, but what the question is, where are you going to store that mac and cheese? How are you going to deliver that mac and cheese? How are you going to take that cake and deliver it to them? How are you going to do that? What does that look like? What if somebody wants a cake at 6 o'clock in the morning or a 4-tier cake? What does that really look like? So the business plan really puts the startup cost in perspective when you're getting started. Please stop me if you have any questions for any slide. So make sure. Sorry, I went too fast. Okay, growing. So this is the stage that I'm actually going in, is the growing stage. A little past the growing stage of what I'm going to talk about, but growing. This is talking about branding. So my question to everybody, what brand is well known that is very simple and it's like recognizable?
Kleenex.
What'd you say?
Kleenex.
Kleenex. Yep. Did I hear somebody say
said
Nike?
Nike. Yeah.
Yep. The check mark. Yep. When I think of a logo should be something simple, something that when it stands out, like when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, I know what that is. Think about your tagline. What does that look like? Because it needs to be short and sweet. Branding is what you have, like your presence online, your presence on your marketing. So when you go and sell that cheesecake, the question is, can somebody reach out to you once they see that? So they're like, oh, this tastes really good. You're not there to say, oh yeah, this is my website. Can your marketing tell them where to go to order if someone likes it? Because word of mouth goes very fast. If someone likes something, that's part of your branding, and somebody like, oh my God, Trisha's Treats, that is awesome. I've had them before. They're going to tell a friend. Branding is your colors. What does your colors look like? Are you wanting to stand out when it comes to your business? You want to be recognizable when just like those logos that you see, you know exactly what that is. The Netflix, think about it. Theirs is a sound. When you hear the doo-doo, who's watching Netflix, right? That's the first thing you think about. Who's turning on Netflix? So it doesn't have to be, it can be that in, but it can also be a sound, or maybe it's a smell. So branding is more than just a logo of what represents or what people see. Branding can be your presence, what it looks like, what your storefront looks like, your online presence, your website, and make sure that it's all congruent with one another. Because you don't want to have, a purple logo over here and it's, of a bear, and then over here you have a snake, right? So you want to make sure it's all congruent when they see you out in public, you have a storefront or you're online. So making sure that branding is all together. Budgeting. Budgeting is a very big one. And I think a lot of people do not do in the beginning. Profits can look good on paper, but cash management is crucial. Another thing with that is what I see people do is cross their lines with their personal and their business. That's one thing that is very important for people, is to separate all that. When you are budgeting, you have to have a budget for your personal side. And then when you really start that business, look at budgeting for your business. What does that look like? What do I need to buy? Do I know my cost of goods sold? What is cost of goods sold? What is cash management? Knowing those terminologies when it comes to your business is very important, because the finances on the back end is very important, because obviously we don't want you to run out of money when you are in the middle of your growing phase, right? So budgeting, cash management, and making sure you are bringing more money in than money is going out. That is a very big key for your business. And the budgeting part will come into the business plan. So that is one thing why I keep going back to the business plan, but the budgeting part can definitely help, because you're looking at what I need to buy and what does my profits look like, or how do I make a profit? Because you're not wanting to say, hey, all my costs were $10. Okay, so I'm going to make or sell it for $12. that does not kind of, the math doesn't math completely right. So I spent $10, but I only made $2, right? So that's why we talk about cash management a lot and budgeting in the startup phase of your business. Marketing. Marketing is also part of your business plan. Great food doesn't sell itself, right? You have to promote it, and it has to be consistently. So you definitely want to put your food or your desserts in people's hands. Yes, but if you don't promote it, then what? And you have to know the difference between the different online platforms. So for example, people are selling things on DoorDash. And then I have an app called Cooking that I use to sell my cheesecakes. There's two different types of platforms. What DoorDash does, maybe Cooking doesn't do. So I have to figure out if that is my go-to of what I want to do when I want to sell my treats on. Or do I need to go out into the community? There's been plenty of little events that I've went to, and I had my treats for free and said, hey, taste this. Tell me what you think. Getting feedback from people is awesome because you can say, hey, please tell me what you think. And they are not biased, right? Your mom and your dad and your friends are going to be like, oh my God, this was awesome. And then turn around and be like, that was horrible, right? So maybe you have people who are not in your circle to give you that honest feedback. Say, hey, this was really good, maybe heavy on the salt, but really good. Or this is awesome, perfect, you don't have to change anything. So promoting it like that and asking for feedback, and maybe you have to give a few free things here and there to get the word out. But building your word of mouth customers is awesome too. If someone can recognize your brand and say, hey, this is awesome, you should try it, that is the most rewarding thing that I can say I have experienced when it comes to Trish's Treats. So making sure I do little events. Maybe it's a farmer's market. Maybe it's some type of pop-up shop that I'm doing. If I can go ahead and do that, then that is perfect. And that also goes back to making sure you have your license. So if I'm going to a pop-up shop or I'm going to a farmer's market, I want to make sure that I'm able to. So you do have to make sure you're able to go to that farmer's market if you're selling a non-potential hazardous food or a hazardous food. Because if I sell my cheesecakes, guess what? I have to have refrigeration. Who wants a cheesecake that's been sitting out for 4 hours, right? So I want to make sure that I'm compliant with the health department to say, hey, I'm selling these cheesecakes at this location. Can I do that? So going to your local health department to say, this is the situation. How can I sell my things? And then I kind of talked about the ordering platforms. Understand what ordering platforms you have. You have your website you can do, different merchant services. So whoever you accept payments for, they might have platforms. There's so many platforms out there. Just do your research. Make sure it's right for you. Maybe one thing is not right for you, and another one is. So understanding what they can do for you and how it can fit into your budgeting, fit into your marketing, and if that is what you would you can go with. It's always about researching for yourself and making sure it's right for your business. And the last part is really expanding. So expanding your business, what does that look like? So when you're in the growing phase, so you already got your recipes, perfect. You're selling, you're starting to market, people are starting to buy your products. Now, what does expanding look like? So pricing is tricky but important. Price for a profit, not just covering costs. Do not undersell yourself. And stay strong with your prices. That is a big one that you will find all the time. As a small business owner, you'll have people, hey, can I get this? Can I get that for free? Understand if you're doing that, how does that hurt your bottom line? How does that hurt your profit? And stay strong with it. If your price is your price, that's your price. Now, I'm not saying don't offer discounts and promotions, because who doesn't love a great promotion, right? If I can buy one and get one free, awesome. That is upselling. So you always want to do those at times, but understanding your cost of goods sold, so how much I am buying, and then how much I need to make a profit. And don't forget to include electric, your time, things like that. The non-tangible things are very important. Make sure you're adding into that cost. And I've seen that all the time where people, hey, can I get this for $12? Can I get this? Can you make this? It's okay to say no, I promise, because some people don't understand what it really takes to do that. And sometimes they don't mean to be, disrespectful. And some people take it that way. But just say no and stay strong with it. Time management is very important because business systems are key. Ordering, delivering, production. What you're wanting to make sure is, okay, so in order to make my cheesecake, it takes this many hours. Okay, when someone orders it and I bake it, I cut it, what does that time look like? How am I doing it? If someone's ordering it, perfect. I'm going to prep it the day before, I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to get it delivered. Understanding all those things within your business will help with expanding. So let's say if I have a cheesecake, okay, now I'm going to add cookies. How does that alter anything? So just understanding you are wearing all the hats in your business at the beginning and sometimes when you're expanding. So understanding time management is very important when it comes to your food-based business, because some people want their food hot, or if it's cold, make sure it stays cold. So understanding when I do those things for my business and doing orders, how's the process streamlined? And a couple other things to consider. Is it a hobby versus a business? I've seen that a lot of times where people are like, hey, I like doing this. I know how to do this. Can I turn it into a business? Yes, you probably can. But as right here below where it says running a business is 80% behind the scenes work. Yes, you know how to get into that kitchen and work, right? And bake. You know how to do that. But the question is, do you understand the business aspect behind it, the marketing, the budget, the networking? Do you understand what that looks like? It seems easy to do, but the question is, can I really do it? Do I know the other work behind it? So that's why I say, is it a hobby versus an actual business? You can turn it, because I love baking, but I also love small business. So I know it's not just a hobby for me, it's a passion. So I want to do it. My thing is, I love to see people smile when they are taking a bite of the cheesecake. So that is something that really, I like. So I'm like, yes, this is a business for me, not just a hobby. Another thing to consider, build a strong network. That is huge. Unfortunately, I learned that later in life, which it's not unfortunate, but networking is key. Just getting to know people who have the same type of mindset as you is very important. When I actually started my Kitchen Oasis, I was with a networking group, and they kind of seen the beginning of it all the way till that it's pushed out. So just having them to kind of talk, to be my cheerleaders, that was awesome. Making sure you have a strong support system, and that's okay. I've seen people who do their business by themselves and build it by themselves. Oh, it's 100% doable. But if you have a strong network and strong support system, that will definitely help. And it doesn't have to be your immediate family. No, that's awesome that it is. But if you don't have that, go look for people who are in the same industry as you. Don't be afraid to talk to somebody who's in the same industry as you. Listen, if someone else makes cheesecake, I'm like, please, let's talk. How do you do your cheesecakes? What do you do? I'm just that person. I'm wanting to get more knowledge. oh, that's something I didn't think about. Oh, that's neat. And I also will support them and say, hey, I know someone who wants a cheesecake. I can't do it. So what about, maybe you might be able to do this. So I'm all 100% supporting other bakers in their business industry. But just building a strong network is very important to hold you accountable and to just support you. Stay flexible and resilient. Business evolution is a must. So I say to stay flexible because everything can change on the drop of a hat. COVID happened, right? Where business is really flexible when it comes to that. So you can't stay stagnant all the time because the industry changes, health codes change, things change all the time. So you have to understand that, okay, my business is this way and it's not doing so good. Okay, so I need to evolve into something else. I need to think about other systems or ways. So as long as you're staying adaptable, staying flexible and things like that, that is key. Protect your passion. Avoid burnout. Oh my goodness. Burnout is real. We've probably all experienced it at work one time. Just step back, take a break. If you can, step back, take a break, and maybe things will, work out. So there's been times, to be honest, I am still trying to figure out this gluten-free stuff. Listen, I am not a gluten-free baker, but I'm trying to get there, right? So that's what I'm trying to evolve into is gluten-free. I think I've already tried 4 gluten-free recipes for my cinnamon rolls, right? No, it is not happening. So, what I do is I just take a step back and I say, listen, I'm going to figure this out. So just avoid burnout of being tired and doing it so long, because if you burn out, then your business is going to go down. I've already said running business is 80% behind the scenes work. So yes, you know how to cook. Yes, you know how to bake. But what about the behind scenes? Figure that out, how it works, what you need to do to be successful. Expect setbacks. That happens. Life happens, right? You never know what's going to happen. Your business could be up and running and you're doing good, but guess what? Your car decides to put the check engine light decides to come on, right? Life happens. That just happened to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God it was something so small. But even your personal things in your personal life can happen and cause a setback in your business. So you want to make sure you expect the unexpected. Sorry. And then the next question, do I hire someone? That's a very valid question is, what does that look like? Do I want to hire somebody? Do I trust somebody with my recipes, right? I'm thinking this is Trish's Treats recipe. No one needs to have it. No, but maybe that person will take some weight off your shoulders to help you. Or do you have some volunteers that will come in and help? So that's a big one of, do I hire someone? Can someone help me? And then what resources are out there for me? There's tons of resources in the community. When it comes to networking, the chamber has been great for me. They've reached out to me. They've helped me in different things. So, and I know they have tons of more resources that I could probably be reaching out for. Just ask. The biggest thing is ask those questions, even if you don't even know what questions to ask, because I don't know what I don't know, right? So if you go to someone who is passionate about helping business and say, listen, I'm thinking about doing this. What questions should I be asking? Who should I talk to about this? And they can point you into the right direction of who can help you with the business or who you should talk to who's in the same situation as you. Because 9 times out of 10, that person wants to help other businesses and can tell you the things, what to do and what not to do, or what worked for them and what didn't work for them. So always find out what resources are out there for you, for your business, even if it's before you're starting out. Do your research. Hey, I'm looking to do this. What does this look like? There's tons of resources out there for small businesses. And that is all I have today. Any questions?
Trish, that is an amazing journey for your business.
Thank
Super
you.
excited. We do have a Mix It Up coming up for you.
Yes. Yes, the Mix It Up will be at Kitchen Oasis, May 27th at 4:30. And yes, I will have cheesecake there. And I will be having a couple of members of Kitchen Oasis there that'll be doing some cooking, and some drinks. So yes, some businesses will be featured there as well.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So the one thing you kind of touched on at the end has always been my concern because my dad and I are launching an Italian gravy, which is like a red sauce. And my biggest thing has been somebody stealing our recipe. And I know that that seems like, okay, but they're not going to make it as good as we would anyway if they had the recipe. How do you kind of like safeguard that and protect yourself?
So there are a couple things. I don't know exactly how to like copyright or get your recipe. I don't know the terminology, but I know there's somewhere out there
Yeah.
that you can get like, I want to say, is it copyright? Correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody knows, but there's rights that you can have for, I mean, think about it. KFC had their recipe on lock, right?
Well,
Now,
everything I've read, it's like you're not allowed to trademark or copyright a
trademark, there we go.
recipe. Yeah, so I'm like, because I don't know, it's kind of confusing. It's like everything I've run into is you can't trademark a recipe. You just have to keep it secret or something. So I don't know if you found that that's wrong or
That is a good question.
yeah.
I'm curious about that now.
Okay.
Because I mean, like you said, yeah, you can have all the ingredients, but the
Right.
question is, do you know the measurements?
Right.
Do you know what
Exactly.
kind of flour I use? Think about it. Nothing but cakes. Listen, I've been trying to figure out their recipe for the longest.
Right.
And I'm like, because their cakes are amazing, right?
Exactly.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure they're not going to tell me what they make or how they
Right.
make it.
Yeah.
Unless I start working there and everything, but I'm pretty sure they probably don't. But then again, you have to keep in mind your appliances and things can, can actually affect your taste in certain things. So
True.
am I
Yeah.
I'm doing it on a gas,
Mhm.
like a gas stove, an electric stove,
Mhm.
temperatures. So there's so much into the recipe that I don't think a lot of people can possibly copy.
Okay.
But
All
that's
right.
that's
You know,
just my 2 cents.
I think that, yeah, I don't know if you can trademark or copyright a recipe. But I think that, what Trish is saying is absolutely on target. Just because
Yeah.
you know the ingredients doesn't mean that you can copy it. But you can trademark or copyright a product.
True. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like the name and the logo and all that stuff.
There's a fine line there, but you can, trademark or copyright a product. And
Okay.
I want to say, Trish, for those
Thank
of
you.
you who haven't tried Trish's cheesecake, it is worth, if you don't go to the Mixed Up for any other reason, go to try her cheesecake. If you are an hour away, it's worth driving to have her cheesecake. That's how good it is.
Yes. Thank
But
you.
I do have a question for you, Trish.
Yes.
Well, out of everything that you learned, what was, and I think Scott has a question too. What was your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise. I want to say how so much health department is and the compliance things that I didn't know, because I'm like, hey, this is just me making treats and desserts. But obviously, yes, I can't make people sick, but how much they need to inspect, they need to come in if they're going to come into your house to inspect, how all that needs to be separate. If you're going to do it in a commercial kitchen, that needs to be inspected. And it can be confusing sometimes, because when it comes to where you live, where you produce all your food and stuff like that, between the health department and the Ohio Department of Agriculture, I think that was my biggest surprise. But I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Well, and I just want to say we use Trish's treats for cupcakes for an event, a women's event we had, and they were both beautiful and delicious. So she did a great job.
Thank you.
I think Trish, Scott had asked you to talk a little bit more about your actual kitchen.
Oh,
The
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So my commercial kitchen is Kitchen Oasis. So it's in Hamilton. It's off the bypass in Tylersville Road. It's a commercial shared kitchen space where it's health compliant and a commercial grade. So it's membership based. Sorry, my voice keeps cracking. It's membership based where any food-based business, food truck, caterer, prep chefs can come into my kitchen and prep and cook their food and go off site with their food.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? And it is Small Business Month. So happy Small Business Month to all the small business owners. I know it could be a lot. So we have to take the month of May to say happy Small Business Month. And then my logo is Life is Sweet with Trisha's Treats.
Trish, if someone has any questions and would like to contact you, what is your contact information?
Yes, so you can go to my Facebook page. That's where I'm mostly active. It's Trisha's Treats Official. You can go there and you can also order on my link. I have a couple links on there where you can order through my the app. I actually do it through the Cooking app, and you can order. And I have like store hours that you can order whenever you would like.
Awesome. I can't wait till to mix it up because I did not get to try your cheesecake yet, and I love cheesecake. So I am more than excited to be visiting you at Kitchen Oasis in a couple weeks. I think it will be amazing.
I'm super excited.
So, any other questions? All right, well, visit us back here. We have another coffee and conversation scheduled on Tuesday, May 27th with John Rhodes with Rhodes Life Coaching. He is going to speak on networking fundamentals. So, if you're out and you're talking with people, what are the ways that you can connect with them, make sure they've got your information? He's got a list of topics that will be very informational. So if you want to join us back here, you can always visit the Chamber's website at hamilton-ohio.com. Register for any of our events. And if you've got any other questions, always feel free to reach out to any of us here at the Chamber. We are happy to help. Dan, you have anything else?
No, I thank Tricia for making a mention of the Chamber, and just you never know until you ask what resources and how we can help you. So don't ever hesitate to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. What can you guys offer? Great presentation today.
Yes, that's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Nice
Trish.
job, Trish.
Thank you.
So in a couple weeks.